Refuting Jiden Jamba Jubon de Kanon, Lama Tsongkapha, Sanje Jumden, Bejawa Shaja Tubala Satsamo Cheddar Janus, Dama Jumden and the Shensha Rajam Bayana, Dove Sanje Refuting Shazon Dama Devareship, Jiden Jamba Jubon de Kano Javana, Tadamen and Jedamba Sanje Jumden, Beja, Shaja Tubala Satsamo Cheddar Janus. Yamba Jumden and the Shensha Rajam Bayana. Refuting Shazon Dama Devareship and Jiden Jamba Jubon. Hello, Java, Lana Meva, Hada Menon, Sanje Jumden. Bejawa Shaja Tubala Satsamo Cheddar Janus. Kanze Kanyan to Jatmase, Sergeant and Anenjiden de la Churches, the Zekeva Jama Nanda Gunga Choto Susan, Yisha, Seja, Taban Jiden Sumana, Bombo Chuni Jama Senjon de Martimeta, which is the Lord of Jama. The region of Ziva Suma, Yame Kenjan Jama. Bombo Tuji and Bottom Jam, Sonomy. The Shensheng Law and Tabian de Shat, giving it. Cheddar and amateur was Shinjuja and Lava Tala Rabin and Shinga Tama and the Gindema. The Wajin and Mejajin gave up on Sons of Rangi Simon. Tennis and Yedama Gamara River, you must have Melam Lord and Jetta when the Shishan did Sonam Dia and Jesse. Command Jin Gada Tana, Shiva Lodge, Civil Son and Joan Joveration.
To the teacher, the blessed one, the one the full destroyer, the completely perfected, fully awakened being, perfect in knowledge and good conduct, Sugata, the Lord of the world, supreme guide of beings to attain, teacher of gods and humans, to you, the completely and fully awakened one, the blessed one, the glorious conqueror, subduer from the Shakya land. I prostrate, make offerings, and go for refuge. To the teacher, the blessed one, the one around you, the full destroyer, the completely perfected, fully awakened being, perfect in knowledge and good conduct, Sugata, the Lord of the world, supreme guide of beings to attain, teacher of gods and humans, to you the completely and fully awakened one, the blessed one, the glorious conqueror, the subduer from the Shakya clan. I prostrate, make offerings, and go for refuge. To the teacher, the blessed one, the one gone beyond, the full destroyer, the completely perfected, fully awakened being, perfect in knowledge and in good conduct, Sugata, noble Lord, supreme guide of beings to attain, teacher of gods and humans, to you the completely and fully awakened one, the blessed one, the glorious conqueror, the subduer from the Shakya land. I prostrate, make offerings, and go for refuge. When the supreme among humans you were born on this earth, you haste out 7 strides and said, I am supreme in this world. To you who are wise then I prostrate. Pure bodies form supremely pure. Wisdom ocean like a golden mountain. Fame that blazes in the 3 worlds. Renown the best, to you I prostrate. With the supreme science face like spotless moon. Color like the gold, to you I prostrate. You are immaculate, the 3 worlds are not. Incomparably wise one, to you I prostrate. The Savior having great compassion, teacher having all understanding, the field of merit with qualities like vast ocean. To you, the one come to thusness I prostrate. The purity which makes one free from attachment, the virtue which frees one from the lower realms, the one path, the sublime pure reality. To that Dharma which pacifies I prostrate. Those who are liberated and also show the path to liberation, the holy field qualified with realizations, who are devoted to the moral precepts, to you the sublime community attending virtue I prostrate. Do not commit non-virtuous actions, perform only perfect virtuous actions. Subdue your mind thoroughly. This is the teaching of the Buddha. A star, a mirage, a flame of a lamp, an illusion, a drop of dew or a bubble, a dream, a flash of lightning, a cloud. See conditioned names as such. Through these merits may sentient beings attain and cobalt see. Subdue the foe of faults, and be delivered from emotional suffering of aging, sickness, and death.
Sanje Shanta Soje Shantama Chanju Padon Dane Jasu Shen Dagi Jasu Jebe Sono Rola Pinche Sanje Drupa Shuva Sanje Shanta Soje Shanta Chanju Padon Dane Jasu Shen Dagi Jasu Jebe Sono Rola Pinche Sanje Drupa Shuva Sanje Shanta Soje Shanta Chanju Padon Dane Jasu Shen Dagi Jasu Jebe Sono Rola Pinche Sanje Drupa Shuva
I go for refuge and Chandrakirti to the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. Through the merit I create by practicing giving and the other perfections, may I quickly attain the state of Buddha for the benefit of all sentient beings. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. Through the merit I create by practicing giving and the other perfections, may I quickly attain the state of Buddha for the benefit of all sentient beings. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. Through the merit I create by practicing giving and the other perfections, may I quickly attain the state of Buddha for the benefit of all sentient beings.
Tamje Jimba Cha Zolon Deda Sanje Jumde and then the Shen Wanda Jumba Ribada Shazon Dema Devarisha Vanji Jimba Jubun de Kamo Jibala Tada Nena Deba Sanje Jumden de Zon, the Shen Wadi Zon of the Vijuda Givezawa Nama Chumesa was Severa Bajimba Sonam Jetera Namjish Peja Samanam Jeteva Tenam Jemado Jima Juyaramba to Tonam Medimba Tevima Vanana Share was sitting in the Botona, the Simja Tamji, Demba, Changus about the Pabia Kazana, Yangana, the Botrajo, and Duan, the Japato. Baba Sanji Major was so number of Yanyan Mokuja, the Chomija. Kusumba Meban, the Vata, the Magabusuda, and Sumavata, the mother. Dungana number to Pumbata, and number to Bakananda, with the Bajaja of them. Giovanna Machino Java Yoto Donata, the number to Sival to Chuval and give a Yoto. Devata Majum, or the Tatrachum, Sanje Jumden, the Yishela Neva. Yangana Devala Medava Yanda Van Jetalan, the Simja Sanjela, Salashu, the Dania Sanje Jumden, the Yukushi, the Yanda, Namasova, Tabation, the Tamaya. Tensan was in Rizama, Deva Yoso, Yoso Chaman, Yanda, Watoma, Tisheva Mevanya, the Toma, the Yubakeva, the Soso Rangaji. Chimney the Yellow was the one level, the Yavajo, the Sanjo, the Rovacho, the Vadan de Madema, Yuva, Tevachi, the never sugar, river sugar, Tomashu. Timashuva, Timaja, Zujuva, Charger, Zujuva, Sonan, Pejin. Yenas of John Jimena Zujuva, Kodovan, Jimena Zujuva, Chimbo. Hangi, the engine, the Waju, Gavameva, Jimeva, Chevam, Tameva, one of the meditation. Giovanni said, I'm not always on your mother, yet about a child. Maybe I'll read from this 329. Descent into Lankas, for example, says Mahamati, the emptiness of one being absence in another is the most inferior among all forms of emptiness. So, and the commentary explains the assertion that because an ox is empty of being a horse, it has no existence. As such is illogical, for the ox still exists by virtue of its own essence for you. We would respond to you in terms of such as this. So now this is the refutation for the Cittamatra standpoint. So in the minority school, the consciousness is truly existence. The minority school, you see, the strange thing is they says anything that is from the cosmic conditions are truly exists.
So therefore, the consciousness and form, sound, smell, taste, all are truly exist. The form, sound, smell, taste are what they are saying is not external. Yeah. So all of them are truly exist. And then what is not truly exist is, the form being, I think the duality of the eye consciousness, sound being the external existing from the air consciousness, smell being external object for the nose consciousness. Yeah, so this is what they say. This is what Heart Sutra and all the sutras they're talking about, the empty truly existence. So the consciousness is still truly exists, but it's not truly exists as different from form. Eye consciousness not truly exists as a different from its object. Air consciousness not truly exists from the sound. So now this is what saying that the ox, for the ox still exists by virtue of its own essence for you, but still you says ox is not a horse, is the the not truly existing what it's meant in the second turning wheel of the Dharma. So in the descent to the Lanka Sutra says this is the most inferior among all forms of emptiness. And then another emptiness in the minority school, form is truly exists, but it's not truly exists as a basis of the name. Like as I mentioned, like a newborn baby, so without name, right? Newborn baby is truly exists, but it does not truly exist as a basis of the name. So becoming basis of name is not truly exist. It's not produced by the cosmic condition. And they use the example like a moon. So sometimes there's in the poem they give the name the moon as Rivonchen, one with rabbit, Rivonchens. So its moon is not by itself as a basis of any kind of name. So it can be imputed any name. You can call it one with rabbit, or you can call Rivonchen, Sisichen, like coolness. And then so any name can be imputed because it is not designed to be named one particular name. So so this is very so they are not really when they negate the negation element. So Buddha says in second turning wheel of the Dharmas that every phenomena is not truly exist. So in Cittamatra school, they interpreted the meaning of not truly existing. Yes, it is truly exist, but it's not truly exist as a basis of name. Yes, it's not, the form is truly exist, but it's not truly exist as external. Sound is truly exist, but it's not truly exist as external. Eye consciousness truly exists, but it's not truly exist as a different from its own form, its object. So here the Lama Tsongkapha is saying this is like the assertions that because the ox is empty of being horse, it has non-existence as such illogical, for the ox still exists by virtue of its own essence for you. So we would respond to you in terms such as this. In place of the phrase that exists by virtue of its own essence, so Nagashu translations has its own essence, which reads better. And also I think Nagashu translation is better.
Mm-hmm.
Reads better. So here is how this emptiness of one being absence in another is captured by the above analogy. The Buddha taught emptiness in terms of the absence of intrinsic existing to help extinguish sentient beings' beginningless clinging to the entities such as form as possessing true existence. And for this, it is necessary to demonstrate how dependent phenomena perceived in terms of form and so on do not have true existence. So when, instead of showing this, Cittamatra asserts that dependent does not exist in terms of subject and object duality. This is like giving the ox non-existence as a horse as a proof of its non-existence. So now when we ask questions to the mind-only school, second and will of the Dharma says every phenomena is absence of truly existence. None of those truly exist. And then says, yes, this means the ox is not truly exist because it is not true as a horse. Now the kind of here is the implication of this is because your whole effort is to extinguish the beginningless, the beginningless clinging to the entity. So the beginningless clinging to the entities, which means from the beginningless we have sentient beings cling to the object. So I mean the fixate or fixate, maybe not fixate. It is the grasping an entity. So in order for overcoming that, that kind of the clinging and the, the grasping of an entity. So now you are demonstrating the antidote, which is saying that, eye consciousness truly exists, the form is truly exists, but not truly exists duality. So how this is from the beginningless you have it. Is anybody thinks that, like animals, the human beings that who has not really studied in this philosophy, do they think, the form that you see is, innately thinking that is a truly different from the eye consciousness? Is this the reason that you develop anger and attachment? And then say, this table is becoming the basis for the name. So do any sentient beings, who has not studied this philosophical point of views, do they have this kind of, conception?
Mm-hmm.
So
it sounds like they're pointing out that their object of negation doesn't actually solve, by refuting that object of negation, they're saying that doesn't solve the problem.
Yes,
right?
yeah.
Okay.
It is not solving the problems because this problem is not there with ordinary people. But ordinary people have the same problem. We have a clinging problem, anger and attachment, all of this. And they don't have this duality concept. So how your emptiness is going to help the sentient beings to overcome this clinging to the entity? In Heart Sutra, is very explicitly mentioned Form is emptiness. Emptiness is form. The form is no other than emptiness. Emptiness is no other than the form. So pointing at the very form is not truly exist. You are saying form is not truly exist as a different from the I consciousness. How this is going to solve the problem? They clinging to the form. So as in this is pretty much the mindfulness school. The mindset is, like in non-Buddhist school, like what do you call it? We call it, I think Vedantaka, and then the what is the Sanskrit word for that? So another Charapa and Ripachapa. There are many. So they're all things that this whole universe is the part of the mind. There's nothing out there. It's all in here. And then there is no water, air, and outside. It is all in our form, sound, smell, taste. So they don't really, they kind of reject the external, external existence. So there is no external wind out there. There's no external heat and motions and space, air, because all of them exist within the form that you see, sound that you hear, smell, taste, the textures. The elements are in those, your whole universe in your consciousness. So this, so the mindfulness school is one of their sisters, So mindfulness school is the sisters of non-Buddhist school. and if we accept that the non-Buddhist school says the elements are part of the form that you experience, you perceive and experience by your sensual perceptions. There's no outside elements. So which means they don't really accept anything out there. And how do you really propound that the particles are permanent? How they find the atmas is permanent. Everything is part of the consciousness. How can these are there in the permanently existing? Now, when it comes to the practice to taming the mind, and when you talk about the benefit of the mind training, and then those Vedantaka school, non-Buddhist school, mindfulness school, they all have some benefit from their own, say thinking that everything is part of my mind. My mother is my mind, my father is my mind, it's my, the future coming grandson, and all of this is my mind. So I think they says that in the non-Buddhist schools, the powerful meditations or most powerful devotion is not seeing yourself, because everything is you in your part of your mind, and everything is, you are the part of the Bhagavan, Paramatmas. And so when you see yourself is becoming inseparable with Bhagavan, and you don't see yourself, there's no sense of I am there. So that is the great achievement. So this kind of mental attitude has so much power to accumulate the merits, and it can prevent many negative emotions. There is no ordinary me. I exist is Paramatma. But now we are not just talking about, just simply accumulating the merits to have better rebirth in the next life. So we are trying to find, what is the best way to stop the cycling in samsara. What is the best way to end this afflictive emotion and the stain of the afflictive emotions? So then we have to, there says the path. The path to liberation cannot be associated with any assumptions or wrong perceptions or the doubt. If any path associated with doubt or the wrong perceptions or the assumption, this is not going to be actual path that lead to the liberations. So now, whatever I meant, so in the non-Buddhist school, in the minor school, their practice has so much benefit, but their practice, their path is based on assumption. This is the good assumption, but it's still the assumptions. Because it is assumption, so this is not going to be the path that lead to the liberation. So we still have, respect to people who seriously practice this kind of, the path that based on assumptions. But this is not going to help you to, to attain the liberations. So when instead of showing this Cittamatra assert the dependent does not exist in terms of subject and object duality, this is like giving the ox non-existence as a horse as a proof of its non-existence. So do you understand that? Mm-hmm. What is saying that? Ox non-existent as a horse as proof of its non-existence. So ox non-existing as a horse, as a proof of first of its non-existence. So not truly existing of the ox means in the mind-only school it's not a horse. Therefore it is, Buddha says it's not truly exist. Mm-hmm. So the man is not truly exist is mean that man is not truly exist as a woman, so therefore, so this is what is second on the rule of dharmas. The men are not truly exist, so because men are not women. So it's a funny.
So dependent, you're comparing dependent with subject-object duality?
Yeah.
And it's like an ox and a horse. So they're separate.
I think first it says, whether form is emptiness. The form, sound, smell, taste. There's no form, there's sound, there's no nose, no tongue, right? Now, when this line, when Cittamatra comes to explain that, it says, the form, sound, smell, and the eye, nose, everything is truly exist. But when the Buddha says form is not truly existing, means form is not truly exist as a duality from the eye consciousness.
So I remember I wrote this down as a question, but to make sure. So basically, they think that phenomena truly exists in terms that it's because they think cause and effect truly exists.
Yeah.
So if they think it's the eye consciousness or the object truly exists, it's because it's an effect from the mind. not because it's like an external.
Yeah, it's reflects from the mind.
So that's why it truly exists. But to say, oh, well, that is
Yeah,
a table out there, then to say that doesn't truly exist.
tables being out there is not truly exist.
Right.
That table is the reflex of the mind. Table, something, emerge from the consciousness, or table is there because of the consciousness.
And so that's why you could say, oh, okay,
That's why it's true.
ox, but horse. Kind of one of those things. Right?
You're also horse.
Yeah. At least that's how it would seem, is that it's like, okay, well, yeah, that's not an ox.
I'm gonna kiss the shirt and love
Yeah.
I say, this is kind of minority schools is very strange because they think, the form is truly exists because it's the part of the consciousness which is truly exists. And the consciousness also truly exists because it's born from the cosmic condition. Now, when it comes to explaining the Heart Sutras, that form, sound, smell, all of them not truly exist. And then you say, how do you explain that? Oh, that means the form is not truly exists as a dual object from the I consciousness.
It sounds like sometimes when you read a book and somebody puts an asterisk next to a word, it says, form does not truly exist, asterisk in parentheses, external odd, yeah.
Yeah, so this kind of, now still, because this kind of understanding of emptiness is very much kind of, stands with, yes, form is truly exists, yes, consciousness truly exists, both are truly exist, but their being dual is not truly exist. So Lama Tsongkapha says, this is like, what do you mean by horse is not truly exist? Oh, horse not truly exists as ox. So now the question is, how this can be the beginningless clinking of the sentient beings that you are trying to apply the antidote. You're trying to find the antidote too for that clinking that remains in your mind from the beginningless. So we're trying to solve that problem. Now this is the new, it's the Tesla. so nobody has the problem with this thing,
right?
So, and how can this be the root of the afflictive emotion?
So it's almost like they're not saying there's no problem with the no-duality thing. That's all fine, but it still doesn't address the issue of clinging.
So I think that's the line. Lama Tsongkapha used this kind of, ox non-existing as a horse as a proof of its non-existence. I don't exist because I don't exist as you. So that's my explanation. I'm not existing. So therefore, there is no difference at all between Madhyamika and Cittamatra when it comes to identifying what is the base for clinging by sentient beings. So it is those very phenomena that are perceived as external or the internal. The same is true of the purpose of demonstrating that these phenomena are empty to help extinguish the clinging to those bases. Now, so when it comes to finding the solving problem of beginningless clinging to the phenomena, so then it doesn't seem to be correct or right antidote. So where they diverge is on what constitute such clinging. For the Cittamatra, clinging consists of the grasping at subject and object duality, the perception that dichotomy of outer versus inner, represent as the real separation. The antidote, says Cittamatra, is to perceive the dependent phenomena itself as the basis and to negate its existence in terms of substantial subject and object duality. In that case, the basis of the negations, say a blue subject is negated as a being substantially distinct from its perceptions. The object of negations in sense of the in the sense of one being the other. For Madhyamika, in contrast, clinging consists of grasping at the apparent world as a having true existing rather than something presented by as a conventional negations. So you have to use the form as the base to negate why it not truly exists. So you cannot say this form is not truly exist because it's not a sound. So for its antidote, the apparent world itself is taken as the basis of revealed to not possess true existence. This too is a case where the basis of negation is negated as the object of negations in the sense of one being the other. For when sentient beings cling, I think that the main idea is this is not really solving the problem of clinging to the antidote and clinging to entity, because this is the new idea of the misconceptions. This misconception is not with ordinary sentient being.
Both Lama, Cittamatra and Madhyamika, both cases.
Now, this is the commentary made by Lama Tsongkapha. Lama Tsongkapha is taking side with the Prasangika school, saying, so the minority school, the idea of the emptiness is not made for applying the antidote for the, clinging to the entity. Because, so your antidote is something, it is not really, saying that, so we sentient beings do not get angry because of this object being, duality of the subject. Sentient beings angry that the object is truly exist. Right? So object with anger is truly exists. Therefore, the anger is kind of, sustained by that thinking, and attachment and jealousy, everything is, the object is truly exists. It's not like object is out there different from my mind.
So Cittamatra is still clinging to the truly existent of their non-dual object. And they still see.
So there is no Cittamatra's way of cycling, and there's no Madhyamika way of cycling. There's no two way.
Yeah, because you said it was truly existent.
Yeah. Truly existing.
You said we cling to truly existent. That's where the afflictions arise.
Yeah. It's not because the object is true by nature, but is being different is the problem. So the object being true by nature is the problem. So it is the root cause of the anger and attachment. Object being true by nature, but not separate or different from the consciousness, is not the not the root cause of the afflictive emotions. Because you're holding the basic cause of the anger and attachment. You're just, how to say, what do you call it? You endorse the main cause of the afflictive emotion, and then you fix it, how do I say? You fake another, problems. This is the cause of the afflictive emotions. Yeah, sometimes people do that, like when they try to fix something and they could not find it, and they fake another things. Oh, because of this, it's not functioning, so I'm going to fix this one. So when the sentient beings cling, so they do so by grasping at the things itself in terms of what is to be negated. So you have to solve the problem with the very thing that you are fixated or you are grasping. So you cannot stay, just leave it there, and that is true by nature. That object there's no problem, and now this object is being different from the consciousness is the problem. You cannot say that. So negation, not in terms of the negation of the presence of some, extraneous fact over the above things, as I mentioned. With emptiness too, what need to be demonstrated is this, that things are empty of that very mode of existence. So you see, that things are empty of that very mode of existing as conceived by the sentient beings. That very form is being, existing by nature, by the misconception, is the problems. So that is the beginningless, the clinging to the entity. Some viewing the emptiness of true existing with the everyday perceived object as a kind of annihilation. Some, now Lama Tsongkapha is referring to some, master may have, they commenting on the emptiness. When they read Nagarjuna's text, the commentaries, the Buddha Balis, they read, now this master thinks that, Nagarjuna's idea is, the everyday perceived objects as a kind of annihilations. So some master thinks, Nagarjuna thinks, and the form is not really exists. And generally, out of misconceptions, we perceive the form. So that is the Nagarjuna's point of view. Some master think that. The forsake it and take something else as the basis. And then instead they're demonstrating how that thing is not being what is to be negated. They ask to show, they seek to show how the thing is devoid of some extraneous thing. This is not the approach of either Madhyamika or Cittamatra, searching within yourself. This is not the approach of either Madhyamika or Cittamatra. So the Cittamatra problem is, why they kind of, they insist to hold on the conditional things as truly existing because they don't want to form nihilism. So when this is not truly exist, the form is not truly exist, consciousness not truly exists, for them, is a total annihilation of the existing of consciousness in their object. So they don't want to go there. And some masters explaining, following the Nagarjuna, saying, oh, Nagarjuna's ultimate idea is the form that do not exist generally. So they think the Nagarjuna's idea is the annihilation. Now, the annihilation of the form is not the approach of the Madhyamika, nor the approach of the Cittamatra. So I mentioned that one time there's one guy, he went to His Holiness teaching in New York. He's not giving teaching with the Heart Sutra. So he's talking about the no form, no sound. So he was walking on the street when there's raining. He was totally soaked. And then his friend said, please come in. He said, there's no rain. So this kind of, so he interpreted that, no form is annihilation of the form. So we should, Madhyamika or Cittamatra, of grasping existing in the beginningless clinking of the sentient beings, it appears that we are in error when what the glorious Chandrakirti said has come true. Something discerning individuals should remain cognizant of. So Chandrakirti says, for these Buddhas way too. So now these Buddhas way too, because earlier there's many, misguided, misled, about the liberations, about the, the dharmas, are about idea of what is the self of the persons. So there are many misguiding, misleading. And this Buddha Shakyamuni is teaching too, this Buddha's way too, there are some objects. So I don't know, this one's object. Object, right? Yeah, here the Chandrakirti says, Dilan Jesu Jaba Yu. Kenan Nyembe Membe Chapas. Jesu Jaba Yu means, when, before the Buddha Shakyamuni, there's countless, the misguiding, the misleading. Even when the Buddha comes to give the teaching the right path, this too has misguided. So the darkness of the evils pervades everywhere. So this is Dharmakirti says. Nyento, Mumbe Chapas. In the meeting of the Father and Son Sutras, this is the sutra, the Buddha's teaching, which is cited in the commentary to present the absence of intrinsic existing of the 22 faculties. They are thus merely imputed as a label. On the ultimate level, no I faculty is found. Likewise, all phenomena are imperceptible in terms of their essence. So in this Father and Son meeting sutra, so I think Buddha has maybe at the time, I don't know, under what circumstance Buddha mentioned this 22 faculties. 22 faculties, maybe, let's see, I remember. Faculties, the 6 faculties we have, eyes faculties, ear faculty, nose faculty, tongue, how's the nose faculty, the body's faculty, and the mental faculties. And then male's faculty, female's faculties. And then life, the faculty of the life. What makes you alive, you know. And then the Sog Omo. And then the faculty of suffering, faculty of pleasure and unpleasant, two faculty, and happy and unhappy. These two is the mental. The pleasant and unpleasant is the physical. And then equanimities, Tanyum Omo, faculty of the equanimities. And then there's the 8 virtues, the faculties we call Tebeomo, I think faith, faculty of the faith. Tebeomo, Tsuduyomo, I think the effort, joyous effort, and mindfulness, concentration, and the wisdom. And then Mishibu Kuishibachibu Omo, and approach, I think the procedure of knowing all. Knowing all means here what in what condition the sentient being cycles, you know, without knowing, and what condition sentient being cycles is another 4 noble truths. Not knowing of what causes this sentient beings fall from the higher realm to the lower realm, right? Cycling in samsara. And what condition sentient beings can be liberate themselves from the samsara to the nirvana. So it's all the 4 noble truths. So there's a procedure of knowing all, and then the faculty of knowing all, and having having the knowledge of knowing all. So it's almost means the procedure of knowing, like contemplate, intellectually understanding of the 4 noble truths, and then actual, directly, perceiving the 4 noble truths, and then arhats, the uncontaminated wisdom. So these are the 22 faculties. I think faculty is the main cause here. So what are the main cause? The eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, mental, and then the main cause that this kind of distinguish the male and the female, and then main cause which sustain your life, and then main cause the equanimities, the balance of the elements brings the pleasant and unpleasant. The balancing of the elements in the bodies brings the pleasant, unbalance is unpleasant. Equanimities, yeah. So then the Tebel, the faculty of the faith. The faith is one of the main cause. In the condition of the faith that drives the mind to pay attention or kind of focus on put effort in something, right? When you have faith in the Buddha, faith in the Dharma, faith in knowledge. So thus the scriptures state that phenomena are nominal designations alone, and ultimately there are no I and no faculties. The above citations indicates how, when qualifying what is to be negated, these two ultimately, in terms of their essence, are equivalent and also how all of our own positions need to be presented from the standpoint of the mere nominal designations. The furthermore, Chandrakirti makes the statement that if the object of, love making in the dreams, I don't know how they translate this love making. So gatse, we call gatse, gawa the like playing and then kind of dream cannot be found by the person even within the dream state itself. What need is there to speak of not finding them while awake? Yeah, some maybe this you may hear this many times from some masters when they teach the Dharma. So everything is like a dream, everything is dream. Right? So almost like a dream, and then there's no difference, awake and dream. So this, some masters, they say this, when you have love making in the dream, that the object that you see in the dream is not found even in the dream state, in the dream while you are dreaming. How can that be found while you are awake? So now they're saying, usually says the dream like a dream elephant or dream horse is not the horse, but awaken, awake time, the elephant, the horse are horse. Right? Dream is to set the example to not truly existing. Now, if you says, the dream elephants are not dream, even in the awakening time, the elephants are not elephant. No. So some master, they kind of, because they think they are following Nagarjuna's idea. They say, oh, they said, when they're awake or they're dreaming, the object do not exist. There's no difference at all.
Dream-like.
Yeah, this is very kind of, usually we say everything like illusion like phenomena, dream like phenomena, reflection like phenomena, and then the dream like phenomenon, the dream objects do not exist. So, and when you are awake, the things that you see and hear and smell are also like a dream object. So does that mean that the objects unreal as a dream? So when you're awake, you say, there's the bread, I can eat it, right? So in the dream, again, you heat the bread and you eat it. So what is the difference that the bread, in the dream, the bread, while you're awake?
Established base. There's a base that you can establish when you're awake. So
the one that can, overcome the hunger. While you're awake, that can really help you. When you're hungry, you can. In the dream, you are very hungry. You're eating the bread. There's no so it is not going to pacify the hunger. So the awake time, the real bread is going to help you. And then in the awake time, the water that you drink, it also helps you to pacify the thirst, right? So that's the difference. So this is the one is not real, one is real. And then why, if one is real and one is not real, why Buddha says all like dream object?
Because they don't have their own essence.
So I think there's the braid, when you say the braid, so braid as a consist of the four substance is like a dream-like object. It is not substantial.
We're just negating truly existent, inherent existent, not the object.
No, the bread, if we say you can eat the bread, you can touch the bread, you can smell the bread, but you still think the smell is not the bread, taste is not the bread, color that you see is not a bread. So which means in your mind, so you think the bread is the consist of all of them. So that thing you think there's as one substantial that contains or possesses all the smell, the color, and taste, the texture, all of them. So that is like dream object. This cannot be touched. There is no, the consist of, there is no substantial things which possess or they contain the four substance. So that is like a reflection. That is just mental projection. So in what you meant in your mind, the braid is the consistent of the four substance as the braid. If the smell is the braid and you don't have to buy the braid, you just go to the store and just smell it, and So, so it's a dream object is not, true. And awake time, the braid that you see is also not truly existing. So that, in that sense, not truly exists. So this, some, misinterpretations. Oh, Nagarjuna says everything is empty of it, their own essence. So nothing exists by their own essence. Nothing intrinsically exists. So which they interpreted that is to be, they are not really exist in the real. So, the dream and, while you're awake, the objects do not exist in generally.
It's like I heard somebody say that, I read somewhere that you could interpret those first couple lines of the Chandrakirti, where he says, not from itself, not from other.
Yeah.
Where they said that, a translator said you could almost put independently, not from itself independently, not from other independently. That was another kind of helpful translation.
Yeah, these are, maybe sometimes, like I always says, if I use my big mouth, so the Gelu tradition they use many times, not independent, nor independently. But Buddha Palitas, Chandrakirti, they don't really make that distinctions. Sprout do not exist by itself, do not born by itself. It is the real. That you don't have to add the attributes, not independently, exist itself. So it's not independent, but it exists by itself. So existing by itself, arising by itself is the negation element. That is not there. Sometimes Guru makes that like too much, and then kind of lost the essence. Sometimes other masters, they just following literally Nagarjuna's and they misunderstood and says, there's a nothing, everything like a dream object, which means for them, they don't really exist there. And out of misconception, out of, this mistaken mind, we perceive the form, sound, smell, taste. So that is very, very kind of dangerous,
Teacher, this statement here make it sounds like whatever object we experience during the dream, when we are awake from it, objects that we experience in awake state, there's more chance of misunderstanding, misconceiving than in dream state. So here's like if we cannot find the object in the dream state,
Yeah.
why is there a need to find any object while awake?
Why we find in awake time?
Why do we even need to mention it? Because you cannot find it even awake. It's more.
I think like is someone have an illusion, someone have some kind of mental problems. They see things. So this, for them, they found something for them. For someone who is mentally stable, they do not see it. We cannot say he did not find it. He find it. So in the dream, yes, you have it. Yeah, you find it. So what you find has no same function as an awake time. So that is how, so the one who is awake can make that kind of, distinctions. Dream, and the bread that I eat in a dream and bread that I'm eating it while I'm awake, I find is the difference. Because maybe I have ate 10 bread in a dream. Morning, I'm still hungry, right? So, and then when you're awake, you eat one bread and that, you're just satisfied. So that kind of, so we should be kind of saying like that. We should not be saying like, oh, the dream object haven't found any dream, and then that too is not found in awake. It's total misexplanations. In the dream, what you see someone you're playing with you, yeah, you find. So therefore you are playing. You are talking to someone, you find someone that you're talking, So you, in the dream, you could not find person and you're talking. So I think that's, Lama Tsongkapha was saying that, because of someone who has, very interested in the narrationist point of view, but they misunderstood. When they explained, always there is a misleading. Some master there says, highly realized when it comes to explaining things, and there's a lot of confusion. So there's a story of one of the great masters who studied many years, great scholar, and he decided to go to the lifetime retreat. So he was meditating, and he has kind of some ambiguity, some questions in his mind. So he finds there's another one, and well-known and highly realized person here. People know him as he has realized emptiness. So this master went to him, and he asked detailed questions. So what is the conventional reality? How dependent the arising is there? Although everything is not truly exist. And then he replied, says, yeah, in this way, nothing. And then maybe there are something. So that's his explanation, So this candidate is not going to help you. So, but from his side, he understands what he is saying, but but he did not really put in, proper, how to say it? Wording. So, yeah, some people have confidence to say many things, but they don't understand. So, like Vasubandhu text, Vasubandhu I think he's the most, how people say that, the meaning of Master. Vasubandhu is the most professional in the writing. So very, very good writing. But his whole ideas is, the most profound idea is could not go beyond the mind-only school. And there was a text, the wordings, is not really good, but he explained it very profound and detailed. So I think that's the Lama Tsongkapha is bringing those different what do you call it? Yeah, the masters has different commentaries. So where they're commenting on Nagarjuna's text, and he's bringing those, they looks good, but when it comes to explaining detail, that it has no detail. It's not really profound enough. So there is no difference at all between dream person and awake person. In both both being an actual person are totally wrong. So this is totally wrong. For Chandrakirti has stated that even in the dream state itself, the individual that one dreams of the making love to cannot be found in actual person. Nonetheless, one must admit that they can found as an actual person in the waking state. So therefore, those who claim that existing of the sensory cognitions, such as visual perceptions, during the dream state, is the standpoint of these traditions of the Chandrakirti is grave error. Saying this is Chandrakirti's tradition is mistake. For the dream mind, there is eye consciousness, there is the object to see, there's the person who is seeing, So for the dream mind, it's all true, but it's proven mistaken, from the awakening state, from the state of awakening. Like sentient beings, we see everything real, so therefore we are, doing from our own, perceptions. So we cycle in samsara because we do not want us to be continuously put in a cycle existence, but we do things, from our own knowledge, right? We say things, we do things, we think about it, we plan, we desire for something from our own knowledge. So for us, everything is true for us. So therefore, we say four noble truths means this truth for conditional suffering, the suffering of the origin of the truth of origin of sufferings, truth of path to liberations, truth of cessations are not right now is not true for us. What is true for us is just conventional, mundane objects. So therefore we use term noble truths as being truth for the noble man. So we are trying to reveal what noble being has revealed the truth. So we also want to know as noble being. Yeah, so in view of all the above, the endeavor of the Chittamatas to lead people to their tenets, despite lacking the competence, right, of the intelligence to realize the ultimate and the definitive truth, is something that deserve only to be discarded. So that finally, Lama Tsongkapha says, now this mind-only school is not going to lead to the liberations. So that's why we always in all Indian traditions, when you meet, the other teachers, the masters, we always revert to that as a rishi, the master. And when it comes to their point of view, and you have reject, so you debate with their viewpoint, you respect to the person. That's what I said. Even you find, in the Charvaka school masters, so you should pay respect, revert to him as a masters. So when you talk, and then you So as I mentioned earlier, the non-Buddhist schools, so they are kind of the whole ideas is when they put up on their practice, there is some benefit there. There's a devotions, a very unique devotion to their to the Ishvaras, and that devotion brings so much benefit to them. Now, so in the Buddha says, this kind of practice may accomplish some kind of, state of being Brahma or Ishvara, and you can be, king of the god. But they're all kind of temporary. So being Brahma is temporary. Maybe it's, when you compare to the human lifespan, it's very, very long, but still there's the end of his position. So he has to be replaced. You go down. So
somebody else gets elected.
Yeah, somebody gets elected. So he has to resign, go back. And then he has to study A, B, C, D again. So the idea, the Buddhist Chandrakirti teaching is to stop all cycling in samsara. Permanently, you're free from all the free from the cause of suffering. But sometimes I find for me, in the non-Buddhist schools, so the idea of the cause of sufferings, sometimes it makes sense to me. Some makes sense. I mean, I kind of, have a kind of, space for accepting. So they talk about the maybe you can power of the substance, power of the darkness, and power of the the wisdoms they call. So the suffering, many of the suffering now is true because they are conditioned by the substance. We have no control over the substance. When the air, too much, and then it causes them, unpleasant. When the heat is too much, they cause sufferings. And then the power of the darkness is, when there's a power of the darkness or ignorance, and then there is anger and attachment. So du mu nyingtop, and nyingtop means how is that? The positive encouragement. So that brings compassion, concentration, mindfulness, all of that. So the combination of these three, power of the substance, the power of the ignorance, the power of the positive encouragement, so all combined, and what it causes, what it produces is the sound, smell, taste, textures. This is so kind of sometimes it's it's very good. It's how to say. It's almost a never-ending story there. There's
Who's teaching this?
and it, samkhya. So then the balance, they all kind of connected. This is what we have. So now from there, now they go to liberation type. And the liberation means, because not liberation, the samsara is, so this, the connection, the combinations of ignorance, encouragement, and the substance, they kind of link together, So that is the samsara. Now, what is not samsara? What liberation means? The person or the self, which is free from this element and this ignorance, right? Which means you have no form to see, no sound to hear. That is a very, very absurd idea. No one will really love that kind of liberations. But they say that is the liberations. So there is a self, but there is no perception, active perceptions. So forever, is their liberations. Yeah, sometimes we see the one angle. Sometimes we could not see full angle. So when we invite those Samkhya masters, maybe they have a better. So maybe, but the ideas all kind of goes wrong when they say there is a self, a person, which is a prominent unity, pervasive. So yeah, I think this is the kind of before the Buddha Shakyamuni, there's a concept of samsara and liberations, and there's a concept of idea how to overcome the sufferings. How can they find a way to for the moksha, the liberations. So Buddha says the things that I found that kind of that enlightened myself is no one has taught me. So I found it. Now what is that? And then what is the teachings? The Four Noble Truths. And all Four Noble Truths, and then all the Vajrayapic teachings, and everything's what he is trying to explain is the absence of intrinsic existence. That no one has taught. Till now. So how such a refutation now is not inconsistent with the meditation on the fallness. So this is another argument. So far is saying that by rejecting or refuting Cittamatra school point of view, does it not against the sutra? And then explains, no, it's not against the sutra. Every sutra explains nothing is truly exists. So it is not against refuting Cittamatra, it's not against the Buddha's teaching. Now another angle, this, bringing arguments. There's a yogi who, on the basis of their own guru's instructions, so just simply following the guru's instructions, see the ground as a filled with skeletons. Here too, all three factors must be seen as the devoid of arising. This is thus described as a meditation attending to as a fictitious, right? Fictitious object. So by following the guru's instructions, disciple who meditate in skeleton meditations, and he also sees the whole universe, all these planets filled with skeletons. So now they say, this is Prasangika school, you also accept this kind of meditation. So the objects are not true. So that again, objects are not true, but the consciousness is truly existing. So if these object of fallness meditations are for you, you just like your object of sense perceptions, then when other persons direct their mind to it, they too should recognize it. This means they are not fictitious. If this meditator who is meditating on the skeleton meditations, because of the power of the meditations, now you tend to see, the whole universe is filled with skeletons. Because of the power of these meditations that influence your all perceptions. Now, so there is this for the meditator who also kind of tend to see, when people see people full of skeletons. So like X-ray, the eye, they train their mind, So now this saying, so if as you see this, the yogi who see that is other people also agree with you, then your meditations is not form. You are not meditating, you're not fictitious. So if other people, no one see that skeleton, but you are the only one who see it, and that is also, influenced by your concentration. So which means, in the Prasangika school says, so from the Prasangika school, as objects not truly, as subject meditations not truly exist. Subodhita, there is no eye consciousness perceiving the skeletons. There is no skeleton filled with the universe or the planets. And there is no person who is actually seeing the planet filled with skeleton. And all three are fictitious. So the minority school and trying to bring that kind of, the concept, the skeleton meditations. Say they want to prove that although skeletons are not there, but the concentration is still there. That's true. Subject truly exists. Prasangika school says no. As the object is not true, the subject not truly exists because there is no eye consciousness directly seeing the skeleton. There is no skeleton filled with whole planets. So all false. But the yogi who purposely meditating on that has some purpose to get rid of any kind of attachment towards anyone. So that is the purpose. It is not because the whole this the way they see is true. And there's a Lama Tsongkapha, the biography of this, when he was, particularly kind of training his the breathing meditations. So he's trying to find out, is the tantric meditations. There's a Lung Umar, the center channel. Through the meditation, he's concentrating in this. Every air that breathe in goes to the center channel, and he was trying to activate the center channel for long time meditations, and afterwards, every time when you see, the air always he can feel it. The air directly goes in the center channel, and the air comes from the center channel. So right now we don't see it, we don't feel that, right? But through the meditations, and consistently, meditations can. She'll say it's time up. Yeah, any questions now? Now, this whole about, things do exist truly by their own essence, or if things do not exist by their own essence and there is no reason things to be existing. Minority school think that. You have to say things exist by their own essence, or things do not exist at all. Like Chandrakirti used, this is the alpha reason, existing or not existing. You choose. If things exist, they have to exist by their own essence. If things do not exist by their own essence, things do not exist. The Prasangika school says, things do exist, but not exist by their own essence. And one of the examples of the Prasangika was, when you find is exist, is because of the is exists by their own essence. It has some exists in particular locations, but still it is exist. West exists, north exists, south exists. Yeah, any questions? Julie, you have any questions? Yeah, so the same is true of someone with eye disease. So too is prithas, perceptions of the river as a stream of pus. It's a pus, all right, pus.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So now they're saying that so what is the conventional reality? There's a, skeleton meditations, as we say, is the fallness, is a fictitious. Does it mean, you are purposely generating these concentrations with this wrong perception? And Prasangika, of course, is not a wrong perception. It's the mistaken, purposefully mistaken consciousness. It has a meaning, it has a purpose, it has the benefit. It is still accepted as a mistaken, but it's not wrong. And the why is not wrong perception. And it says, it has the object. Skeletons in generally exist. It's real. And then another says, how about, like a iron, the, what do you call it?
Brand
No.
that spits.
So there is, objects, conventional reality is, it is it's a relation with subject. For example, when there is the burning iron, iron that turned red, so with normal hand, it touches, it burns your skin. And if you use the tantra and the mantra, recite mantra, and you just on the hand and touch, you feel cool. So now question is, the coolness is not the contact, is not part of that iron or not. Yes, we can understand the hardness. There's the hot textures is there, but you cannot refute there is no coolness. If coolness, the coolness not exist, and how with the mantra it it experiences directly there is cool. When you recite some kind of mantras, then you can touch the fire, you can touch the burning iron. Some people lick the burning iron by reciting the mantra. So this texture of that is, you cannot refute. This is the texture of the burning iron has the coolness. So now, because the object is always exists with relation to the subject, therefore you have to accept the textures of the coolness and the hot is both with this burning iron. So that depending on the subject, with the relation, this, hand with mantra, what's called, not levels, it's kind of, mantras influence or what, and with that, there is the coolness with our burning iron and a normal hand with hardness, the burning heart is there. And then, the object always exists with relation to the subject. The normal people, when they see the river is the water. So Prita is the hungry ghost, because there's a karmically, they are ripening, hunger and thirst. They are, overpowered by this negative karma. When they seize the river, they seize the pus. So, and then also there are some, let's say, the pretas, there's sometimes some pretas, they from the distance, when they see the tree with fruit, when they come closer and closer, and then all the leaves and the fruits are all gone, just bare tree is there. So now the question is, this object is not real or not? For us, it's a real that fruit tree has a fruit. That the very moment the preta, the hungry ghost, sees there's no fruit. The bare tree exists with relation to this particular consciousness, the hungry ghost consciousness, with tree and the leaves with normal consciousness. So which one you can say, one is not real and one is the real? So the Prasangika school says that objects proven to be exist or objects possessed to be existing with relation to the subject. So with relation to the subject, now again, does that similar to the mind-only school? And then we say, no, there's the trees, they're out there. There's a river out there, independent of your consciousness.
Which school says that?
This is the Prasangika school. Prasangika school says this object, the textures of the coolness in the iron, burning iron is relatively exist with the burning iron. Yeah. And then the hardness of that texture also exists with relation to the normal consciousness. The ball of the water can be normal water for the normal human being. A ball of the water can be pus for the hungry ghost consciousness. A ball of the water can be experienced in the taste as nectar by the God consciousness. So you cannot say the human being is only true, So you cannot say the God it sees is as it is true and the human being is wrong. So this is why relativity is with relation to the subject, things proven to be existing. So the Skalton meditations, ground as the field with the Skaltons, is still it is mistaken, but it's not the wrong perceptions. It has object to perceive. It perceives the object as a Skalton in general. It's there. With each person there is a Skalton. And then tiger, they sees that it's meat. It's raw meat going there, moving around. So, yeah. No question?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So Chanju Simjo Rinpoche, Maje Bana, Jeju, Jeba Nyamba, Meba, Hone Kondo, Pewajo, Tonye Tawa Rinpoche, Maje Bana, Jeju, Jeba Nyamba, Meba, Hone Kondo, Pewajo, Pama Simjen Tamje, Deda, Deju, Indo Tamje, Tado, Toyo, Chanju Simba Kana, Suju, Deda Kunji, Monum Duju, Karera Roko, Vishimazo, Pendan Dewa, Malu Juvene, Jereza, Tinjazo, Shabeside, Badu, Deju.
May the precious Buddhi mind not your form arise and grow. May the form of no decline but increase forevermore. May the precious mind realizing emptiness not your form arise and grow. May the form of no decline but increase forevermore. Due to all these merits, may all Father and Mother sentient beings uphold happiness, and may all lower realms be empty forever. Wherever there are Bodhisattvas, may all their virtue accomplish the dignity. In the sacred land surrounded by snow mountains, you are the source of all benefit and happiness. O powerful chant is the Cittamatra. Remain in this world until samsara ends.
Thank you.